that the sun would rise from the west. Number 7, 8 and 9, 3, khusuf, plural of khas, an earthquake, shaking of the earth and sinking down, one in the east, one in the west, and the third one in Arabia. You had one in Tamansiri, UK a few years ago. And number 10, that the fire will come out of Yemen and drive people to the place of assembly. This one about the sun rising from the west. I am getting lots of emails, so many, from people who are presenting so much sophisticated argument concerning polar magnetism and providing evidence that one day the earth is going to stop spinning in the direction it is now spinning and is going to spin in the opposite direction. I am not stopping you from having that view. That's your choice. It is just that I differ with you. Am I not allowed to differ? Huh? Even if 999 out of every 1,000 hold the view that the sun is literally going to rise from the west one day, that's their view. Why can't I have my view? And I am not interested in all of this polar magnetism arguments. It's irrelevant to me. All things are possible with Allah. He is fa'alul lima yurid. But my primary source of guidance is the Quran. And so it is to the Quran you must turn if you want to convince me. The Quran informs me that the sun rises from the east. The Quran says so, that the sun rises from the east. It does in Malaysia, doesn't it? From the east. Yeah, okay. And the Quran further tells us, لا تبديل لخلق الله, that there is no change in Allah's creation. So nature is uniform. And so a literal understanding of this hadith would be in conflict with the Quran. This is my opinion. I don't see why I should not be entitled to have my opinion. You can differ with me, I don't mind. What about Tawbah? I said that the sun is already rising from the west. The hadith is speaking about a false sunrise. The true sunrise from the east is Allah's sunrise. And the false sunrise from the west is Dajjal's sunrise. So where do we see Dajjal's sunrise from the west? I say Dajjal's sunrise from the west is modern Western civilization. Modern Western civilization shines like a sunrise that there's never been in history. It is absolutely unique. There's never been anything in history comparable to modern Western civilization. And the only way I can explain modern Western civilization is by accepting that Dajjal is the architect. That it has risen from the west and it constitutes a false sunrise, and that this is the fulfillment of the prophecy of the 10 signs of the last day. That the door of Tawbah should be closed, this is a more difficult one. My view, and I can be wrong, is that Allah's messenger is not talking about Tawbah for all of mankind. In Akhirul Zaman, one people stand out. One people. And they are Banu Israel. And they have consistently said they will not appear before Allah on Judgment Day singly for judgment. No. We know that we will go for judgment one by one, each person singly. But Banu Israel says, no, we are the chosen people of Allah. And so we are going to be judged as a people, not as individual Jews. And as a people we'll get salvation, and as a people we'll all enter into Jannah. So it is as a people that the door to Tawbah is now closed for you. And now Tawbah is available only for individuals, not for the community. And Allah knows best. Can we consider HAARP, H-A-A-R-P, as Dajjal's means on controlling the weather? Oh yes, no doubt. The Prophet said that Dajjal is going to control the weather. He caused the rain to fall, and he stopped the rain from falling. And so the Western control over weather today is certainly the fulfillment of that prophecy about Dajjal's control of the weather. But you cannot accept that unless you also accept that Dajjal has been released. Okay? Modern medical treatment and medicine. That's another hadith, not the one about weather. The other hadith, and you're lucky I can't stop to ask you questions, you're lucky tonight. The other hadith is that Dajjal is going to chop a man in half. You heard it? Yeah. He's going to chop a man in half and then bring him back to life. And when he does that, now do you believe that I am the Lord? People will believe, they'll worship him now, that he is Allah, because he can chop a man in half and bring him back to life. But Dajjal is already doing that. And people are already worshipping him instead of Allah. Go to any hospital today and you see the surgery. Heart transplant, kidney transplant. Tomorrow it might even be brain transplant. Huh? It is equivalent to chopping a man in half and bringing him back to life. And then the shirk. People would say, if you turn off that life support machine, he will die. And the hospital will tell you he will die, because the hospital wants, the hospital, the longer the machine goes on, the more money they make. And you will believe it. How can I turn off the machine? If I do it, he'll die. Well, you dumb. You're now believing that the life and death is in the hands of the machine. The machine decides who will live, and the machine decides who will die. But we Muslims have a different belief from that nonsense. We believe that life and death are in Allah's hands. None can die unless Allah ordains death. None will live unless Allah ordains life. And yet you say, if he didn't have that operation, he would be dead. If we didn't take him to that hospital, he would be dead. If he didn't have this treatment from this doctor, he would be dead. And in the process, you commit shirk. You're worshipping Dajjal without even knowing that you're doing it. Next question, there are ahadith in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim Okay. He wants to know what criteria do I use for choosing some ahadith pertaining to Akhirul Zaman and to interpret and explain them and not mentioning other ahadith. Well, I already explained that my knowledge of the subject is increasing one step at a time, little by little, little by little. It is Allah who gives understanding. If you're constantly thinking and thinking and thinking, my wife complains. Oh yes, even when I'm with her, she and I alone, the man is planning another lecture. He's writing another book. She complains. So, if you make the effort, then one day Allah will give you. Sometimes I go into the bathroom. When I come out with a new idea. So it is only as knowledge advances that I'm able to understand a hadith. And if I do not speak on a hadith, the implication is that I'm not as yet comfortable that I've penetrated that hadith. There is a well-known Sahih hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ said that you're going to make an alliance with Rum. Is it in Surah Rum? Rum. And in that surah we are told at the very first ayah that Rum was defeated. Rum was defeated. Did you hear that? Rum was defeated. But in a few years' time, Rum will be victorious. Who is Rum? Now, if you tell me that Rome is Rome, R-O-M-E, I would suggest you go and live in Disneyland and never come back. If you believe that Rome is Rome, R-O-M-E, go and live in Disneyland and never come back. Excuse me for raising my voice. At the time when the Quran was revealed, who was it who was defeated? Was it a city in Italy, you dum-dum? Why don't you do a little bit of research before you come to this foolish conclusion? Excuse me. No, even 5 rupees worth of a little bit of research. You'll know that when the Quran says that Rome was defeated, the Quran was not talking about a city in Italy called Rome. No. The Quran was talking about the Byzantine Christian Empire, which had its capital city in Constantinople. I mean, only 5 minutes worth of research you need for that. And so don't use the word Romans. No, they're not Romans. Romans are a people who have some kind of a connection with Rome. Otherwise I have to change the English language. And these are in Constantinople. This is not Rome. So these are not Romans. So stop mistranslating the Quran, please. It is the Byzantine, Eastern, Orthodox Christian Empire. Where is Rome today? It's no longer in Constantinople because the Byzantine Empire no longer exists. But the Eastern Christian